I'm back soon already. I have something else that I want to express. Well, I'm going to be driving straight, so I'm actually just going to go throw on my sunglasses because it's freaking bright as crap out here, and I can't. I don't need to read these signs. I can see enough to not hit any cars. Like, come on, I'm not that blind. I feel like I'm trying, and I'm really not. I'm just right. You know what? I just really want to wear some glasses. Like, don't do this. Don't do this with me. Please skip ahead a couple of seconds. I'm wasting y'all's time. So, I had another video that I wanted to make, and it's about sensitives because kind of piggybacking off of my last video, and oftentimes really anything I do comes from my experiences of sensitivity and being a sensitive person. And I'm coming right now from the place where I'm going to talk about sensitivity because I've gotten into a lot of conversations with people, heated arguments, heated discussions, whatever. First of all, when you discuss something that I'm passionate about, I'm passionate. I'm a very articulate person. I use my body. Articulating to me includes my body language. It includes my tone and, you know, whatever. And I'm also a loud person in general when I'm really into the interaction. I'm loud, I'm boisterous, whatever. So when it comes to heated discussions, people tend to want to have discussions about personal shit, first of all, or things that affects you personally or people around you personally, and they want to talk about it from a completely sterilized intellectual place, and that's okay. Sometimes I do that. Sometimes it's necessary. But there comes a time when feelings are very real and feelings are absolutely involved, and so people always want to, you know, oh, you're being sensitive and you're sensitive, and, you know, you want to throw you off because you're sensitive, and, you know, what's the word? Demean or belittle your message or you as a person because you're sensitive, because you feel, because you are reactive to things, or because you announce that, yo, you did something that to me I feel was disrespectful, and people just really want to shade you and your character and your creativity even because you put a little emotional flair into your response or into your activism or into whatever it is that you do professionally or emotionally, whatever. People just want to characterize you as something because you're emotional or emotionful or expression. You know, you express yourself a lot. Like, and I know I personally have experienced and gone through a lot of shame surrounding my sensitivity because I'm a person who feels. For people who are into personality profiles, mine came back INFJ multiple times, okay? And this is something that, to me, is not disputable. I know I'm a feeling person. I feel everything. I feel thoughts, okay? I feel everything in my body. I feel everything in all of my experiences. So I'm a very feeling person. And that influences me. That, because I'm a feeling person, that is exactly what drives me to build relationships the way that I do. It's what drives me to communicate with people the way that I do. It's what drives me to be passionate when I'm speaking. That's the reason why I articulate myself, because I felt something and I wanted to express it. So when I'm having a discussion with somebody and it's getting to a point, and oftentimes what it is that they getting outclassed by a motherfucker who's emotional, and so they can't take that heat and they want to discredit you by saying, oh, you're emotional. And we understand this. A lot of it is also rooted in sexism. You know, we say, oh, she's emotional, and so that means we can't listen to her because she's using emotions to express herself. We can't listen to emotions when we express, but that's bullshit. I mean, come on, you got married to somebody because you was emotional. You made choices you made because it came from some type of feeling response where you felt it and you enjoyed it, and so now you doing what you're doing. I'm so sorry, bro. You saw the lane was ending. This is a weird lane merge. That was the weirdest lane merge I've ever seen in my life. New Jersey has some weird streets, which I'm not going to trash talk New Jersey. New Jersey does it itself. So, no, when it comes to sensitivity, though, I'm a sensitive person, and I just want to make this as a shout out to all my sensitive peers and people, because you make this world comfy, because you feel the way that you feel, you know what it feels like, and so you go above and beyond to create and provide comforts and services and experiences to people so that they don't have to feel the way that you do. And the thing is, a lot of people feel the same way, but oftentimes they're too scared, they're too uncomfortable, they're repressed, or they just don't even know what they're feeling and don't know how to articulate it. And I'm not going to shame people who go through that. I mean, I go through that. Just because I feel and I express doesn't mean I'm always this articulate. I'm not, okay? There's times when the best thing I can articulate is, I can't tell you nothing right now. it is what it is. So I'm just putting this out there so that people who are sensitive don't have to be ashamed for having such a depth of feeling, for having such a depth of self-knowledge that at times goes beyond any boundaries or ideals of the situation that you're in. Sometimes, you know, you should end a relationship and you just started it, and it has absolutely nothing with what the person did. You know, nothing, nobody did anything wrong, and that's, we need to get out of the mentality that relationships need to be ended because they're wrong, or that it's obviously bad for you. Sometimes relationship is just bad for you because it's the wrong time and place, or you're just not dedicated enough, or you know, you don't have the right energy, or you don't have the right understanding, or whatever the case. So like, accept your sensitivity and accept it with a responsibility, because there's something great to be able to experience the world with such depth. You know, you experience beauty in a completely different way. It's like having a different filter. You know, some people see with their eyes, and that's how they see beauty. Some people who feel, you know, we feel beauty. We see beauty in our hearts. We see beauty in our bodies. We see beauty in our stomach. Like, we experience beauty. We don't just see the beauty. We are the beauty. Like that tree, these trees I just passed, with like the red, orange, yellow, green, blah blah blah. I felt it. I didn't just see it. I feel the pigment and the vibration of that red and that orange coming off of those leaves and making impressions onto me. I can feel that. I experience that. So that's a very real thing, and it's very legit. And it's like, I'm so tired of living in a world where explicitly and subliminally there's these messages that say we can't take you seriously, and neither should you take yourself seriously because you're emotional or you're sensitive. Honestly, for you to be sensitive about the fact that I'm sensitive says something else about your level of sensitivity, if you want to be like that. So I mean, whatever. Don't try and read me based on my sensitivity. I will put it out there. Yes, I will have a passionate argument with you based on logic, based on reasoning, and emotions while I'm crying. And you better listen to me. Don't sit here and not listen to me because I got tears rolling down my face. Like, that's extremely dismissive. And who wants to be dismissed? Like, how would it feel if you live in a world where people say, oh, you're being really logical? You're using really sound forms of thought. And honestly, because the world is set up in a way to not favor that, when you use logic and thought and reasons and whatever, numbers and math and all that stuff, I'm not going to listen to you. I'm going to close the door on you. I'm going to shut you out. And I'm going to keep doing this to the point where you shut yourself the fuck out. Like, it's extremely harmful. So I'm saying this to the sensitives. Don't perpetuate those ideas, and don't take those systems of oppression and put them onto your identity. Like I said, a lot of it's rooted in sexism. A lot of it is rooted in misogyny. A lot of it's rooted in, you know, unhealthy models and ideas of masculinity. And just unhealthy ideas of the human condition and the spiritual mind and modality, period. A lot of it is just unhealthy to say that because you feel or because you experience, you don't have the right or the place or the worthiness to express that. Fuck that, okay? Fuck that. If my feelings ain't got no space within me, and you know, you got a problem with me having feelings, get out my face. Get out of here, get out of my way. And it's not like I have negative feelings towards people who think that or feel that way. Sometimes I know it just comes from a place of ignorance. Other people, it comes from a place of choosing. Regardless of where it's coming from, at the end of the day, I have to protect myself, and I have to be here for my interests. So my feelings are a part of that, and if they can't at least be given room, I don't need you to do this or do that and do backflips because I feel a way. No, sometimes as a feeling person in a relationship, whether it's a friendship or, you know, whatever the dynamic of the relationship, because I feel, and I know that I feel so much more than other people can be accountable for. And first of all, it's not their responsibility. I don't want them to. It's nice when they can and are able and they volunteer and they do that, but it's organic, you know, I like that. But a lot of times I don't necessarily want people to act upon what I say I'm feeling. I just want it to be heard. And it's really because articulating my feelings is essentially the same as articulating my thoughts, because I'm articulating to you an experience of perception and an experience of realization and actualization that is happening within me. So when you are able to hear me discuss my feelings as my thoughts, then you are able to really hear and see me as a fluid person. Like, I don't want people to just listen to my thoughts all the time. I have feelings, you know. I don't want people to just listen to my feelings all the time. I have thoughts. They're not always the same. They're not always in agreement with one another, you know. So if you ask me my thoughts and then I tell you my thoughts, but then, you know, later on I have a conversation about my feelings, and you're like, well, you're contradicting yourself. And I say, no, I'm not. I'm telling you two different things. These are two different entities which are acting inside of me. They're two different parts of my experience. Like, I can control my thoughts to, you know, a degree, to an extent, a very far one, but I can control my thoughts. My feelings, on the other hand, is really just that unfiltered experience. I'm feeling and processing feelings before I have thoughts about anything. So my feelings are already happening before any thought comes, and I'm really just saying this hoping that someone who understands and relates feels like they just got another puzzle piece, because I've suffered so much from, you know, people discrediting me based on the basis of feelings, you know. And there's a lot in this society where it leaves people who feel ungrounded. And even for thinking types, you feel. It's different than someone who necessarily, you know, feels everything in their body, or feels everything through touch, or feels everything, you know, in whatever way. But you have feelings too, and they're just as valid. You just articulate them in a very mentalized, compartmentalized, organized manner. And as a feeling person, trust me, I admire that. I used to want so hard to be a thinking person, and it's to the point where I've exercised that function so well. I'm very capable and adept at it, but it's not my primary space of reasoning. So being true to myself, I do now, you know, take more consideration for my feelings. And so now I'm having that struggle of getting my thoughts back into order, you know, because things are a lot more abstract and fluid when you're a feeler. But when you're a thinker, of course, there's systems and blah blah blah. And, yeah, there's systems as a feeler. They're just more intuitive and more abstract, I think. Not necessarily more intuitive. Thinkers can be intuitive. I'm just saying they're more abstract and less constrained by systems and conformity to reasons, you know. So my feelings, you know, it's funny because I have to validate my feelings by using illogical thought processes. That to me used to be something that disturbed the hell out of me, and that honestly was a part of the reason why I really enjoyed being on testosterone, because it took that part away. Because I got tired of the unnecessary, excuse my language, but the unnecessary flair and dramatic essence of feeling as opposed to thinking. And so I was in a place where I was exasperated with feeling so much, and it just not making any sense, and not being able to get myself in order and really know what was going on. But you know, going on T allowed me that break. It allowed me to go, finally, you know, to get away from all these emotions and feelings, and so from that thinking pattern of, you know, that whatever I'm trying to say. So, but now, having been off testosterone and had that experience of maturity and growth through a more thinking process as opposed to a feeling process, like, it's given me a balance that I don't know what else I could have done that would have created that type of accountability for myself. So when people ask me, you know, oh, you're off T now, do you regret ever going on? I'm just like, do you see my smile today, baby? No, I don't regret it at all. And honestly, I am amazed at what has happened as a result of my transition into, you know, trans masculinity and out of it and in between it, you know. So I'm really glad for the experiences I've had, but now I'm just like, okay, how do I use it, you know, or, you know, where do I go from here, you know, with what I've learned so much and done so many things, and I'm just like, okay, now I feel like I'm 18, now what do I do? And when I mean I'm 18, not like, oh, I'm legal, but like, okay, now I have a considerable amount of responsibility. Yes, I'm 26, but emotionally processing for me was such a long process of building awareness that I won't say it thwarted my growth, it thwarted my progress in a lot of physical life-based areas, because literally feeling so much all the time and just always being tumultuous, and it's just, life is all about timing, and it's also about practice. And I was just at a place where I was just constantly, everything was constantly moving, and I wasn't centered in any type of groundedness or awareness. And so, like I said, testosterone definitely gifted me with that ability to be still for a moment. So now I have more of a tendency in leaning towards my emotional and spiritual awareness than I do thinking. But it's still a process that I like, love, and appreciate. But again, I'm going on and ranting, but this was specifically for people who think like myself, or people who are curious of these types of things, you know, because it's so endearing. It's it's lovely, you know. I'm always like contemplating with whom I may experience the most intellectual compatibility. And for me, intellectual compatibility is not just about the thought process, it's also the emotional process. And so intellectual compatibility also includes emotions. And I just keep trying to, or wanting to be receptive of people who have that type of emotional response ability. I don't mean responsibility, I mean response ability, to carry themselves that well and to provide thoughts and experiences which are advantageous based on, you know, just having that emotional, intellectual awareness of themselves. Again, and just bridging that with spiritual, all this and that. I just love it. But, you know, as I always say, I can go on and on talking. I got like 3 hours worth of driving time to do this. So I thank you all for watching and for constantly being co-creators within this space that we are sharing. And I appreciate you making yourself visible. Whether or not you're liking, whether or not you share, whether or not you comment, you make yourself visible by putting your vote in, by watching my videos all the way through. I check my demographics and all that stuff on YouTube, so please don't doubt me, or don't doubt your ability to be visible in different spaces and in different ways. We're never separate, we're always together. The law is always forming. So I'd like to thank you all for watching. I'll talk to you all later. Peace.